Everybody, this is another reading of Dear Martin by Nick Stone. This is chapter 3. Justice has a lot on his mind as he steps into societal evolution class on Tuesday. For one, yesterday, a Nevada grand jury didn't return an indictment on the cop who killed Shamar Carson. Since being arrested, Justice spent all his free time following the case, and now it's just over. Speaking of cops and arrests, yesterday Justice also learned that the cop Manny's cousin confessed to shooting was none other than Tomas Castillo. What Just can't get over is that he knows Manny's cousin. His name is Quan Banks, and he lives in Justice's mom's neighborhood. Quan's a year younger than Justice, and they played together back when the only thing that mattered was staying outside until the streetlights came on. Like Justice, Quan tested into the accelerated learning program in third grade, but when elementary school ended, Quan started running with a not so good crowd. When Quan found out Justice was headed to Brass Prep, he mentioned a cousin who went there, but Just never put two and two together. And now, Quan's in jail. Justice can't stop thinking about it. Yeah, Castillo was an a-hole, but did he really deserve to die? And what about Quan? What if they give him the death penalty? What if Castillo had killed Just, though? Would he have been indicted? Come here for a second, Just, Doc says as Justice drops his backpack on the floor beside his seat. Dr. Jarius Doc Dre is the debate team advisor and Justice's favorite teacher at Brass Prep. He's the only half-black guy Just knows with a PhD, and Just really looks up to him. How you holding up, my man? Doc says. Been better, Doc. Doc nods and narrows his green eyes. Figured as much, he says. I wanted to let you know today's discussion might hit a nerve. Feel free to sit it out. You can leave the room if need be. All right. Just then, Manny comes into the room with Jared Christensen at his heels. Justice isn't real fond of Jared, or any of Manny's other friends for that matter, but he knows they've been tight since kindergarten, so he tries to keep a lid on it. What up, Doc? Jared crows as he crosses the room to his seat. Oh, God, Jared, sit down somewhere. That would be Sarah Jane Friedman, lacrosse captain, future valedictorian, and Justice's debate partner since sophomore year. Aw, SJ, I love you too, Jared says. SJ glares at him and pretends to shove a finger down her throat as she approaches the seat to Justice's left. It makes him laugh. The rest of the class trickles in, and the moment the bell rings, Doc pushes the door shut and claps his hands to begin class. Doc, morning peeps. Class, multiple grunts, waves, and nods. Doc, let's get started, shall we? Discussion prompt of the day. He makes a few taps on his laptop, and the words, all men are created equal, appear on the classroom's digital chalkboard. Doc, who can tell me the origin of this statement? Jared, United States Declaration of Independence ratified July 4th, 1776. Smiles smugly and crosses his arms. Doc, correct, Mr. Christensen. 12 of the 13 colonies voted in favor of severing all ties to the British throne. The document, known as the Declaration of Independence, was written into being, and to this day, one of the most oft-quoted lines of said document is what you see there on the board. Everyone nods. Doc. Now, when we use our 21st century minds to examine the quote within its historical context, something about it isn't quite right. Can anyone explain what I mean? Everyone crickets. Doc. Oh, come on, y'all. You don't see anything odd about these guys in particular making a statement about the inherent equality of men? SJ. Well, these were the same guys who killed off the indigenous peoples and owned slaves. Doc. Indeed they were. Jared. But it was different then. Neither slaves nor Indians, Justice. Native Americans or American Indians, if you can't name the tribe, homie. Jared. Whatever. Point is, neither were really considered men. Doc. That's exactly my point, Mr. Christensen. So here's the question. What does the obvious change in the application of this phrase from 1776 to now tell us about how our society has evolved? Extended pause as he adds the question to the digital chalkboard beneath the quote. Then the scrape of a chair as he takes his regular seat in the circle. Jared. Well, for one, people of African descent are obviously included in the application of the quote now. So are Native American Indians. Justice clenches jaw. Jared. And women. Were originally excluded, but now things are more equal for them too. SJ snorts. Still not equal though. Or still not equal enough. Doc. Expound if you will, Miss Friedman. SJ. It's simple. Women still aren't treated as men's equals, especially by men. Jared rolls his eyes. Doc. Okay, so there's women's rights. Any other areas where you guys feel like we haven't quite reached the equality bar? Everyone. Nothing. Doc. Feel free to consider current events. SJ. You would make a terrible lawyer, Doc. Everyone with nervous laughter. Doc. I know y'all know what I'm getting at here. Manny. I mean, we do, but you really want to go there, Doc? Doc. Hey, this school prides itself on an open dialogue, so let's hear it. Everyone, still nothing. Doc. I'll come right out with it then. Do you guys feel we've achieved full equality with regard to race? Everyone, nothing. Doc. Come on, guys. This is a safe space. Nothing said here today leaves this room. Jared. Okay, I'll bite. In my opinion, yes, we have reached full equality when it comes to race. Doc. Expound, please. Jared. Well, anyone born here is a citizen with full rights. There are people who claim certain injustices are race related, but if you ask me, they're just being divisive. Justice inhales deeply and rubs his wrist. Jared. America's a pretty colorblind place now. SJ. Of course you would say that. Manny. Oh boy. SJ. It never ceases to amaze me that guys like you have your head so far up your entitled Doc. Sarah Jane. SJ. Sorry. It's just you're completely oblivious to the struggles of anyone outside your little social group. Jared. Whatever, SJ. SJ. I'm serious. What about the economic disparities? What about the fact that proportionally speaking, there are more people of color living in poverty than white people? Have you even thought about that? Jared. Dude, Manny drives a Range Rover. Manny. What does that have to do with anything? Jared. No beef, dude. I'm just saying, your folks make way more money than mine. Manny. Okay. They worked really hard to get where they are, so, Jared. I'm not saying they didn't, dude. You just proved my point. Black people have the same opportunities as white people in this country if they're willing to work hard enough. Manny's parents are a perfect example. SJ. Seriously? You really think one example proves things are equal? What about Justice? His mom works 60 hours a week, but she doesn't make a tenth of what your dad Justice. S. Chill with that, man. SJ. Sorry, Just. What I'm saying is Manny's parents are an exception. Have you not noticed there are only 8 black kids in our whole school? Jared. Well, maybe if more people were like Manny's parents, that wouldn't be the case. Justice takes another deep breath. SJ. Okay, so you're saying people just need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. Jared. Exactly. SJ. In order to do that, They have to be able to afford boots. Manny. Dang. Point for SJ. Jared. Whatever. There are people on welfare strutting around in Air Jordans, so there's obvious some footwear money coming from somewhere. And don't get all high and mighty, SJ. Don't get high and mighty, SJ. Your ancestors owned slaves just like mine did. SJ. Wrong, numbnuts. Doc. Miss Friedman. SJ. Sorry, sorry, Doc. As I was saying, my great grandparents immigrated to this country from Poland after narrowly escaping Chelmo. Jared. What? SJ. It was a Nazi death camp, and you just proved my point again. You'd spew a lot less obscenity if you were willing to see beyond the 18th hole of your country club golf course. Doc. Reel it in, SJ. Just so you know, Manny's parents have been members of our country club longer than we have. Manny. Bro. Jared. Just saying, dude. SJ. God. This country is headed to hell in a handbasket with people like you at the helm, Jared. Justice chuckles. Jared. Anyway, to those unfamiliar with the U.S. Constitution, thanks to the 14th Amendment, every person in this country has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. SJ. BS. Doc. SJ. SJ. It's true. Justice. You need to chill, SJ. Are you serious? Justice. Yeah, I am. SJ. You of all people know I'm right, Justice. Leave me out of this. SJ. Fine. Bottom line, it's been over 2 centuries and African Americans are still getting a raw deal. Jared. Could have fooled me. SJ. Oh my God. Do you watch the news at all? The name Shamar Carson ring a bell, maybe? Jared. Oh, here we go. Not every white person who kills a black person is guilty of a crime. Pretty sure the courts proved that yesterday. SJ. All the courts proved yesterday was that a white guy can kill an unarmed teenager and get away with it if the kid is black. Doc. Conjecture, SJ. You know better. You need to tread carefully here. Jared. Dude, the kid attacked the cop and tried to take his gun. And he had a criminal record. Justice. Hold up, man. The attack was alleged. There weren't any witnesses. Jared. I thought you were staying out of it. Doc. Watch it, Mr. Christensen. Jared. He said it, not me. Justice grits his teeth. SJ. Maybe if you actually followed the case instead of getting information from social media. Jared. Doesn't change the fact that the guy had been arrested before. You don't get arrested if you're not doing anything wrong. Bottom line, he was a criminal. SJ. The charge on his record, which is public, so you can go look it up, was a misdemeanor possession of marijuana. Jared. So, do the crime, do the time. SJ. Jared, you bought an ounce of weed 2 days ago. Doc. Don't make me write you up, SJ. SJ. I saw it with my own eyes, Doc. Jared. What I do with my money is none of your or anyone else's business. Justice snorts. Of course it's not. But what Shamar did with his is everyone's, right? Doc. Y'all better get back on topic before I start handing out detentions. SJ. My point is, I've seen you commit the same crime Shamar Carson had on the criminal record you mentioned. Jared. Whatever, SJ. SJ. I know you'd prefer to ignore this stuff because you benefit from it. But walking around pretending inequality doesn't exist won't make it disappear, Jared. You and Manny, who are equal in pretty much every way apart from race, could commit the same crime, but it's almost guaranteed that he will receive a harsher punishment than you. Manny. Why do I keep getting pulled into this? Jared. Obviously, because you're black, bro. Everyone snickers. SJ. Numbers don't lie. Justice rubs his wrist again. Jared. Yeah, we get it. Your mom's the big shot attorney, and you have all the facts. SJ, deflect all you want, but you can't deny that you get away with stuff Manny could never get away with. Manny, I swear I'm changing my name. Jared, maybe I get away with it because I'm not dumb enough to get caught. Justice, wow. SJ, you get away with it because you're white, a-hole. Doc, Sarah Jane. Jared, you looked in the mirror lately, SJ? You're just as white as I am. SJ, yeah, and I recognize that and how it benefits me. Jared, do you? Sounds like you're jumping on the white is wrong bandwagon to me. Justice cracks his knuckles and shakes his head. SJ, whatever, Jared. Bottom line, nobody sees us as, no one sees us and automatically assumes we're up to no good. Everyone says nothing. SJ, we'll never be seen as criminals before we're seen as people. Everyone, nothing. Justice, I'm going to the bathroom. Gets up and leaves. That's the end of chapter 3 of Dear Martin. Hope you're enjoying it.